Welcome to the latest edition of our podcast. We love the rock and roll, and we got a good one lined up for you today. This is going to be a laugh because we've been going through rehearsals and all sorts, so we're going to have a bit of fun. Russ, before I spill the beans, who have we got lined up? What are we going to be talking about?
Well, it's a bit of a new one for us, and we're in Denmark, as you mentioned, which is going to be a lot of fun. We're with Henrik Knudsen. I hope I pronounced that correctly. It's not really my best forte pronouncing Danish names. And our old friend of the show, Stan Urban. Stan, you just pop up everywhere. We were in Scotland last time. Now you're in Denmark. So anyway, we have to talk about Henrik's place. And Henrik brought it on himself. We're going to talk about how he brought it on himself to actually build a replica of the famous Elvis Mansion, Graceland.
Hey, you don't say Graceland. We're not allowed to.
Can't say Graceland. No, we don't say Graceland, but it's very similar. In fact, nearly a complete replica. And we call it the Memphis Mansion that Elvis used to live in. I think that's the correct thing. So anyway, without further ado, I'm welcoming my old mate Stan back, but also a new mate in Henrik, and we're really looking forward to this. This is something really off the wall for our listeners and viewers on YouTube, and we're always trying to bring new things, new interesting things. And Stan said, "You got to speak to my mate. This is quite a story." So we like good stories. Everyone has a story, and it's worth listening to. So over to you, Phil.
Right, indeed. So at the piano at the moment, we got Henrik and Stan. We're going to start off with Stan, and it was great having you on the podcast, our very first one, in fact. Some wonderful stories about all sorts of aspects. Sorry, what? All aspects. And, well, I'm just wondering, really, you come up with this guy who's a lover of rock and roll, as Russell said. In Denmark, we are at the moment. And I'm just wondering, I mean, we got the piano set up, we got the museum to explore. We're going to have a tour around with that, hopefully, fingers crossed, technology. And, well, Henrik, how did this obsession of yours come about regarding the museum and also rock and roll itself?
Hey, I've been born a rock and roller. I'm born in '64, so I'm probably for a lot of people a bit late. I'm a late bloomer, but I did it. I did it with British rock and roll. I did it with glam rock. I did it with a lot of things until gentlemen, in 1972, I turned on a Danish top 20 program, and that day the DJ was playing a cat from Memphis with a crazy name. I never heard anybody with a name like that, Elvis Presley. And he was singing a song called Burning Love. And when I was only 8 years old, so when I heard that, something happened. I didn't get instantly crazy Elvis fan, but it kind of turned me on to that kind of music and looking into things that happened before glam rock.
Wow. Well, Henrik, so I just want to set the picture here a bit. One day, I don't know what you were doing, but one day, let's fast forward a bit from 8 years old, you woke up and thought, you know what, I fancy building a replica of Elvis's home. I mean, what were you doing as a job? And good job I'm not a psychiatrist. What were you thinking?
No, but hey, you're talking like my family right now. Everybody around me. What the hell is going on, Henrik? Sorry for cursing here. But actually...
Oh, you can curse all you like on this one.
Okay, rock and roll. Anyway, so no, but let me just push it a little bit further back, because in my young years, I was in the 20s. I was a sales agent for a German company called Bosch. I was selling drilling machines in Denmark. But one morning I woke up and I became this crazy Elvis fan. And I thought, can I make this a living? Can I make a living out of being an Elvis fan? So I quit my job, which was a well-paid free car, every benefit you can think about. So right there, everybody was saying, Henrik, what the hell are you doing? You cannot give up all of that to become a full-time Elvis fan. But I wanted to. I dreamt it. I felt it. I lived it. I wanted to. So I gave it up. I took a deep dive financially. But hey, I did it, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I'm so happy I'm into it today. And then to answer your question, on one of my many trips to America, because I travel all the time to America. My last trip was no, not my last trip. My next trip, which is on Saturday, is my trip number 150 to America. So I go a lot, and on one of my many trips, I was in Nashville, and I wanted to see the Musicians Hall of Fame. There's the Country Music Hall of Fame, there's Johnny Cash, there's Patsy Cline, there's all sorts of museums. But I love the musicians, the Sidemen's Hall of Fame. I've always been interested in the Sidemen's as well. I knew the stars was the stars, but there needed to be musicians to back them up. And in Nashville, they have this great museum called the Musicians Hall of Fame. And I went there, and the storefront, they have moved now, but in the old museum, the storefront was a replica of Sun Studio in Memphis. And I thought, wow, I already had my business going, and I thought, I can copy that. I could do a storefront in Randers looking like Sun Studio. But before I left America on this trip, I know it's always the Americans who does the crazy and the biggest thing. I came up with this idea. Hell no, I'm not doing Sun. Sun is amazing, and I love Sun Studio. I got a lot of respect for that studio of Sam Phillips. But before I left America, I thought, hey, it had to be Graceland. How crazy, how cool would it be if we had a replica of Graceland in Memphis?
There you go, Henry. I think you still got the drilling thing in your blood, because you're talking about doing a deep dive, and we're drilling down to find out more about your craziness and association with Elvis Presley. And Stan, I mean, before we get on to another aspect of setting up the mansion, how did you two meet?
Well, Henrik was a bit of a fan of mine. He liked anything to do with rock and roll, and I was one of the few guys that was running around Denmark doing rock and roll. So that's how we met, and it's more than 40 years ago, I think.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And you're still friends by the looks of it. Good stuff. So,
hey, I have to answer that because Dan is too humble. I love this guy. No, you are. You're too humble. I love this guy. He's like a musical father to me. We discuss music. He play music. He tell me music. He teach me music. I can't play. I can't sing, and that will never happen. But I understand a lot of music stuff because of Stan Urban, and he is one of the best piano players I ever seen.
As we know, and Henry, looking at where you are now, we're going to be going around. We're going to have a tour, a big setup, I do believe. I haven't seen it. I can't wait to see the tour around. But I mean, the challenges, the cost of setting something up. How did you finance it?
That was a strange thing. A lot of people thought that I got it from my parents. I'm very proud of my parents. My parents are working class heroes, and they didn't give me the money, but they taught me a lot of things that lawyers and bankers couldn't give me. But I still had to go to the banks. I still had to loan the money, and it was a little over 4 million euro to build the project. So I get the idea. I get the idea in 2006. We have the financial crisis in 2008. I didn't have the money myself, so it was a long journey. It took me 4 years to find the money, and the building was ready in 2011.
Wow!
Amazing,
wow.
Amazing. So, Henrik, what would you say? I mean, obviously, the money was a big challenge.
Yeah.
That's an incredible amount of money in anybody's language. So hats off to you for that. But what would you say in your mind were the biggest challenges about building a replica and making a museum? And apparently, which we're going to see, you have one of the biggest collections in the world of Elvis memorabilia. But my question is, what do you see as the biggest challenge of this project? Because it is a project. I mean, it's a passion, a project, whatever it is.
I have to be honest. The biggest problem was to convince other people to believe in it, because you have to understand we are so far away in Randers, Denmark. To get the idea to build a replica of a guy's home, a guy who had never been here, who had never been in Randers, who had never been in Denmark, and who had been dead
now
longer than he has been alive. It was a big task to talk people into it. But luckily for me, I found 3 guys. I call them the 3 wise men. They're not Elvis fans. They are financial geniuses from Randers, and they run all sorts of businesses. And I didn't know them, but I was at a meeting where I was called over in the corner to the three of them, and they said, Henrik, you're crazy, but we like your thoughts.
Yeah, we like you're crazy. I think we like you're crazy as well, Henrik, because that's why you're on this podcast.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I got to ask you, Henrik, regarding another big challenge, I suppose, because legally, this is a legal aspect. You're not allowed to refer to your project or mansion as Graceland. So, yeah, why is that, and how challenging has that been?
Has been major challenging. My lawyer at the time, he has passed since, but my lawyer, Morten Vandborg, a good friend of mine, a big Elvis fan, he said, Henrik, you have to be careful with using the name Graceland. It may be copyrighted in Denmark. And he said, and I said, but how can I check that? I have never done this before. I never built anything like that. I never borrowed so much money in my life. I never had anything like this. And to be honest with you guys, I was not worried, but I knew I had to look into it. So he said, there's only one thing you can do. It's called contacting the Danish Copyright Office and see if it's copyrighted. And back in the day, you could only send them a check of about £400 or whatever. And if you get it, you get it. And if you didn't get it, you lost your money anyway. So I did that. And you know what? I got it. Nobody had copyrighted it in Denmark. So I took it. And stupid me, a few months later, I come up with the name Graceland Randers. I knew it should not just be Graceland, it should be Graceland Randers. So I had to do the whole thing one more time. Nothing happened. And you have to remember, there's like a 30-day frame where people can say, oh, you cannot have that. And nobody did anything, right? So, and we do this in 2006, remember, 5 years before we opened. So I thought I was home free. BBC World News was here. CNN was here to make an iView report. You know, there was so much media. When we opened in April 2011, we had 30 different press offices here from all over the world, and nothing happened. But we had a business plan, and within 5 years, we were supposed to make money, but we already did it in 3 years. And when we started making money, letters came to our mailbox from lawyers around.
Then you could afford Stan, then, couldn't you?
So anyway, but just to make a long story short, you know, we actually end up in high court, and my wife Gitte, who I own, you know, it's easy for me to sit here and be a smartass, but you know, there's so many people. I have 54 colleagues, and none of what you're going to experience today would have happened without any of them. So, but we're sitting in high court in Copenhagen, and Gitte, my wife, you know, who I love traveling to America to, said to me, she said, Henrik, you know what? I think we are wasting our time. I think we are paying lawyers. I think we're going to lose this case. Why don't we hurry back to Randers, change our name, and continue business? So that was what we did. So we changed the name to Memphis Mansion. It's still rocking and rolling. The funny thing is, all the signs around in the streets around here says Graceland. The mayor wanted to give us a gift when we opened the place, and he gave us the gift of the street name. So our building is located at Graceland Randers Way, number 3, right? So he gave us that. So anyway, so we lost the name, or we made a settlement. Actually, we didn't lose it. We made a settlement with Elvis Presley Enterprises. So now we are Memphis Mansion, but we're still living at the Graceland Randers Way, number 3. And that's a funny thing. They can't take that because the mayor gave us that.
That is absolutely brilliant. So you lost the name for the mansion, but you gained a street with a name. Absolutely brilliant. Right.
So I think,
yeah, sorry, Russ.
I was going to say, well, I think we need some music, don't we, from Stan on the old piano?
Yeah, we'll have a bit of music, and following on from a bit of tinkling of the ivories for Stan, something I'm looking forward to. This is going to be the special VIP deluxe tour of the museum. So before Stan starts tinkling the ivories, Henrik, where does the tour start?
Sorry, say that again?
Where, if I'm coming to the mansion, what do I see when I enter first of all?
when you arrive, you will park at our stress-free parking lot. We have a parking lot. Don't pay. It's easy. We want customers. We like them, so we treat them well. So it's stress-free parking. We have a sign that if you're not an Elvis fan, you could be all shook up. So you have to be careful, of course.
I love it.
You will go through the music gate exactly like in Memphis. And in our Bose speakers, you will hear Elvis sing all the way up to the mansion. You will pass our statue of Elvis. You go in the front gate exactly like you would if you were in Memphis. And then the tour would start. I normally say that what they are paying for is the museum. Everything else is on us.
Right. And then take us on the tour as you sat at the piano. Give us some indication of what we would see next.
When you come down the museum, we kind of have it in chronological order, right?
Let's go to the front door. Can we not do that?
No, but we're not doing that now. We're filming that later on, right?
Okay, we're doing that afterwards. So we're going to have a description now. We'll do a bit of editing, okay? So a bit of a description now. Okay, so
and we'll edit in.
We'll edit. So following on from that, what can I expect? Sorry, 3, 2, 1. Following on from that, what can I expect to see? What's going to be the next big iconic display at the museum?
Hey, I have to tell you something else. Actually, our version of Graceland is twice as big as the one in Memphis. So when you get in the front door to the right, we have a very lovely American diner with a great American cuisine. On the left side, we have a huge Elvis merchandise shop with more than 6,000 different items of the king. And then up on our first floor, our top floor, we have our conference room where you could have your wedding or you could have a business meeting. And you know what? Last year, we had 265 events at our house.
Wow.
So it's business, it's pleasure, it's beautiful anniversaries, it's beautiful birthdays. So we're pretty busy with that. So that's the top floor. But if you go down in the basement, that's where the museum are. It's built around my collection. Yeah. And my collection is rated one of the 10 biggest in the world. It's insured for €2 million. It had taken me more than 30 years to kind of collect the rare items. What people are going to see at the museum is only 1/3 of my collection. But I change items from time to time to make it fresh and new. But you're going to see Elvis's from his information and items from his birth. Actually, earlier this year, we bought his doctor in Tupelo, his files, his books about the when Elvis was born, also the tools, the only picture that exists of the doctor. We have that, but we also have, like, for example, something I think you guys would appreciate. We have the tape that was recorded at Sun Studio the 4th of December, 1956. Actually, Carl Perkins was in the studio to record a song he had just written a few days before called Matchbox. With him, he had the killer, who was not known at this time. He was just a studio musician, Mr. Jerry Lee Lewis. In the door came the king, Elvis Presley, and a little bit later, the man in black, Johnny Cash. The four of them was doing an informal jam session that was they sang gospel, they sang rock and roll. It's it's out on CD now, so you can buy it also at Memphis Mansion. There was made a copy of this. That was made 4 copies. One for Johnny Cash, one for Elvis, one for Carl, and one for the killer. And the only copy that have survived all these years is located right here at the Memphis Mansion, and it comes directly from the killer, Jerry Lee Lewis.
Wow, that is absolutely fabulous. And I tell you what, we don't want to give away too much because we want people to come to you to see this firsthand. So give us a couple more of your key pieces of memorabilia in the museum.
I also have one of his cars, a Lincoln Continental for 1964. He kept it for 10 years, gave it away to J.D. Sumner, a gospel singer that he was a fan of and has been all of his life. He actually hired J.D. Sumner and the Stamps, his quartet, for his tours from 71 to 77. J.D. Sumner also sang Elvis's funeral on August 18th, 1977. Anyway, so that's a very personal. We have a boat, we have a motorcycle, we have a couple of guitars. I have the bass that they used when they recorded Suspicious Minds in the Ghetto, Don't Cry Daddy. Kentucky Rain, and the list goes on and on and on.
Henrik,
yeah.
Henrik, sorry, Phil, I have to interject because in these podcasts, it comes to my mind. Many moons ago, I worked with the great Tom Jones, who Stan did a memorable duet with on The Voice a few years ago. But I can't remember her name. You'd know, and maybe I should have researched this, but it just came to my mind. When I was working for Tom Jones, he had one singer, backing singer, who was the backing singer of Elvis.
Yeah.
And I got talking to her, and I said, Elvis was known for his generosity. Did he ever give you any nice gifts? She said, "Oh yeah, he bought me my first house."
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, I've heard it so many times, but she told me firsthand. She said, "No, he bought me my first house."
But that's true, Russell. You know what? He was so crazy. If he met people, if somebody said to him, "I like your watch," he would take it off and give it to them.
Yeah.
He was so, we don't know exactly how many cars and motorcycles he bought in his life, but it's between 350 and 400, and most of them gifts. He bought houses for so many people. His generosity was crazy, and I think that's part of the story too. And I want to mention, I'm so happy you said that, because to show Elvis through cool items is special. But I really like to tell his story because not many people is aware how gentle he was, how he thought about other people. He didn't see colors. He didn't see sexualities. He didn't see religion. He was just the freaking king of rock and roll, and he loved music and he loved fellow musicians. He was friends with a lot of people. Tom Jones, one of them. Tony Joe White, Johnny Cash. A lot of people came in and out of Graceland and hung out with Elvis at the music room.
We're hanging out with you two guys, and I think at the moment you sat at the piano, a very special piano. So before we have a few tunes from Stan, tell us about this piano. What's so special about it, Henrik and Stan?
Yeah, it's funny. I bought it at an auction for nearly 20 years ago. I was at the Beverly Hills Hotel in Los Angeles, and I was out for an auction. They had a few Elvis items. I was well prepared. I got the stuff. I was happy. But I stayed there because it was very interesting. It was not only Elvis. It was Marilyn Monroe. It was James Dean, Frank Sinatra, John Wayne, and such. And it was very interesting. And I also had this auction catalog in my hand. And on the second last page, I fell over this piano. It's a Schaefer and Sons. And I knew Elvis had one like it, but I knew this could not be Elvis's. Actually, Elvis's is at Arden Studios in Memphis, but that's another story. But this piano, I felt connected with it because I thought it was uber cool. It's a gift to Milton Berle for a birthday, and it was he put it at the Friars Club. The last guy who played it at Friars Club is Jackson Browne. But the reason I bought it, I love Jackson Browne, but the reason I bought it was that three of my other heroes and a piano player that I also love very much, like my friend Stan here, have played on it. And the piano player, let's start with him, Count Basie. And the three singers who have been singing around this piano is Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin, and Frank Sinatra, also called the Rat Pack. And I thought if they could play and sing around this piano, I had to bring it to Denmark. So that's the reason I have it.
Excellent. Very good reason indeed. So, right, let's have some music. Time to have some music here on our podcast. And Stan, what are you going to play for us? I know it's going to be rock and roll. Are you going to be waking up some of the ghosts of those past legends? I love the scriptwriter I've got here. Stan, what are you going to play for us?
Yeah, everybody knows all the classic rock and roll ones. I want to play one of my own, and it's called The Devil Made the Boogie.
Oh, I love this one.
Lord made the heaven, and Edison made the light, or rather Tesla made the light, but the devil made the boogie, and he's rocking tonight.
Okay.
the devil made the boogie and he's rocking tonight. Ease your way in, squeeze your way out if you must be gone. He's full of sin, he's full of doubt if you're on your own. Spin my wheel, ring my bell, singing my song on my way to hell. I know who made the boogie. I know who made the boogie. Woo! The devil made the boogie. The devil made the boogie. But the Lord made heaven and I see the light. The devil made the boogie and he's rocking tonight. All right. Heaven and I see the light, but the devil made the boogie and he's rocking tonight.
Great stuff, Stan. Thank you for that. The legendary Stan Urban. Just go on Spotify. He gets maybe half a kroner or half a euro for every million plays. So he's making a fortune there. No, for the rock and roll, go on to Spotify and you'll find Stan Urban there and lots of his music. And you know, the thing is, he does all the classics, but he's written some brilliant songs himself. And please do yourself a favor. So Hendrik, maybe you could just tell us a bit more about the exhibits, and we'll just have a little look around the exhibits, I think. So maybe you could just take us around and explain piece by piece the ones that stand out. You can't do the 6,000 or however many you've got, but the ones that stand out, the favorites, you know, give people a taste of the place. That would be great.
The thing is that we, you know, when I started collecting, for me, it was more the music, and it's still the music. It's still the music that made me the Elvis fan. But I like the story, and I like the story to a lot of the pieces. And I have, for example, I have Elvis's TCB chain. And if you don't know what TCB is, it was Elvis had been on tour for 30 days, and one of his musicians said to him, Elvis, I think we are a little bit bored by playing Love Me Tender every night. And Elvis said, what are you talking about? Love Me Tender is one of the classics. That's one of the songs that the audience would like to hear. And the musician kept going, and he said to Elvis, we played it for 30 days. It's really boring. And Elvis said, what about the audience that comes in tonight? Have they been with us on tour for 30 days? And of course they hadn't. And Elvis said, don't you think we should just TCB, take care of business? When Elvis was flying home that night, he was a little bit annoyed, bored. He was annoyed that he had a fellow musicians who didn't understand the concept. And he was flying at that time with American Airlines, and on the backside of an envelope he found in the seat in front of him, on that pocket in the seat in front of him, he took a pen and he wrote his first and only business slogan. He wrote TCB. He said, take care of business. He wrote, take care of business. And he draw a little flash. And the idea was to put that flash under the TCB. So that meant take care of business in a flash. When he landed in Memphis, he contacted his jeweler, Laurel Hayes, and he made him make a couple of these. I have the first one that he made for Elvis. It's full of diamonds, and it's a super cool symbol, because it should not only remind Elvis and his musicians, it should remind all of us that every day we have to do our very best. We don't know how long the life is, how long life we have together. So let's freaking rock and roll. So I love that. It means a lot to me. I also have a couple of rings. I have some. I have, as I said earlier, I have a few of his guitars. I have some clothing. I have a lot of his gold records. Yeah, but also a little bit. I also have a little bit on Colonel Parker, and a lot of people really don't like the Colonel, and I'm not saying that I do, but I don't dislike him as much as other people does as well. I think he was very clever, at least in the early days. He became the name. His name was actually Andreas Cornelius van Kuyk, and he was illegal immigrant from Holland. And when he came to America, he easily figured out that Andreas Cornelius van Kuyk was not an easy task, you know. So he took a name change to Thomas Andrew Parker, and later became Parker or the Colonel. And the Colonel came for helping a governor becoming a governor because he was very clever with marketing. And when the governor,
Hendrik, just for our listeners and viewers, and we do have some younger ones as well. Just to reiterate, Colonel Parker was Elvis's manager. He discovered Elvis. You know, just because not everybody's as knowledgeable as you, and it's really interesting to hear you. But just to,
so the Colonel, I got a few of his stuff. Funny contracts. He always had in his contracts. By the way, we want all the money up front and the rest in the end. And he was he was a comedian about a lot of things, you know. And he did dealings on Elvis' behalf that was very clever and very different from anything anybody have seen.
Yeah, he did get a lot of bad press, didn't he? To be fair, you know, that's what you hear about Colonel Parker. This sort of monstrous figure that maybe was.
I think what we really have to think about is that none of us really forgave Elvis to die at the age of 42. It was
I remember where I was. I remember what I was doing when I was told.
A lot of people were, right? So we never gave him. And when it happened, we had to put the guilt on somebody. And the first one that came to our mind was the Colonel. And I don't think it's 100% fair. Was he a crook? He was probably a crook. But anyway, that's what it is.
Yeah. And what about Johnny Cash? I believe he comes into the museum with, you got some exhibits connected to Johnny.
Sure. I have always been a big Johnny Cash fan. I never met Elvis, but I met Johnny Cash a few times. I had a visit in 2016 by Tommy Cash, Johnny's younger brother, and he came and visited and saw the museum, and he pulled me aside after walking through, and he said, I wish somebody would do what you have done for Elvis. I wish somebody would do for my brother. I was not the first one doing that. Somebody, Bill in Nashville, did the first Johnny Cash museum ever, but we have the second, and we got the idea and we built it during COVID. We had nothing else to do, so why not do the next museum?
What an amazing artist! I mean, I love. I mean, when you think of, I mean, I personally love his last album. I love it, and it was like it was sort of, I don't know, in a spooky way, a goodbye. You know, I don't know. Have you felt that?
Definitely.
Some great songs, some great covers. Some interesting covers, but the way he presented the album was amazing, which is just called Cash.
I totally agree. All the American albums I think was great. It was Johnny got invented again in a new, fresh style, and it fit him very well. And at least it gave him the rise again before his passing.
That he deserved.
Definitely.
I do have, obviously we're reminiscing here a little bit. I just want to bring us back a little bit on track because are there other people who have visited you who you would say it was like, were there people who have visited you who are in Elvis's band who are able to give you more stories? Is there any standout? I mean, we just lost Sonny as well, didn't we?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, bad. You know what? I'm proud to say I worked with most of them over the years. I worked with the Jordanaires. I worked with the Imperials, one of his gospel choirs, J.D. Sumner and the Stamps, Scotty Moore and DJ Fontana, his first guitarist and drummer. TCB Band, James Burton, Ronnie Todd, John Wilkinson, Glenn D. Harding, Jerry Sheff on bass. I worked with all of them, and they all been here. Not Scotty. He passed before he had the chance to come over, so I'm very sad about that. I've known him for a long time, but he was a very good.
And of course, all these names that you're naming of legends of rock and roll, you have one sitting next to you. I mean, I don't want to embarrass Stan, but he's still going. 81. You're going to be 82 soon, no, Stan? Yeah, he's still foot on the piano. You can't stop the guy. And he plays, I believe, every July. He does a residency, weather permitting, at your place.
Yeah.
How's that working out?
That's working out greatly. It's a tradition now. It's something that had to be, because again, we've known each other for a long time, and Stan followed the project while we were building the house, and again, we've been friends for a long time. So, and to be honest with you, we have a lot of great musicians in Denmark. We surely don't have any rock and rollers like Mr. Stan Urban here. So,
but didn't you record a live album?
I did, yeah.
I was listening to it the other day. Yeah, some good musicians playing with you there, Stan.
Yeah. There's one English guy, the bass player, Michael Wedgwood, of the Wedgwood porcelain family.
Oh, really?
Most of the musicians are Danish musicians. There are some fine musicians here in a little country like Denmark. I mean, I think there's more people in Glasgow than what there is in Denmark.
But you're not fussy, Stan. You play with anybody. I'm always amazed. Stan will just like, come on, let's play, And in the spirit of rock and roll, bless you, Stan. It's brilliant when you just invite everyone to play with you, and if no one wants to play, you're playing your own. If there's for one person or 10 people, I said in a previous podcast, when he came to Manila in the shopping mall, he just got up and started playing, and no sooner there's a crowd, So we love that, and I think what you're saying, Hendrik, that is the spirit of the old rock and rollers,
Cool.
So Stan playing in July, that's definitely a date for my diary, and we're going to give out the website in a moment for people who want more information, and Stan will have some more music from you. But Henrik, how much time is required to see the museum? How long would a guest spend visiting the mansion?
As much as we have added over the years, people spend from an hour to a whole day, depending on your interest. If you want to read every little note and understand everything, and we have when you go to the museum, it's as I said, it's not only the Elvis. We have the Johnny Cash. We made a replica of the Tupelo house. We have a small movie theater where we show a documentary on Elvis. And hey, if you also want to wine and dine in our diner, it takes an hour or two, maybe more. I don't know, but hey,
Stan said your burger's very good.
Yeah,
Stan said your burger's amazing.
Okay. So what about if people want to stay over? I mean, if it's going to spend a whole day there, they'll need somewhere to sleep. Is there hotels nearby or what?
Plenty of hotels in Randers. Yeah, that's very nice. In all price ranges. So yeah.
And what's your website for those who want more information?
It's easy. It's memphismansion.com.
Okay, great stuff. We'll put that at the bottom of our writing on the podcast section. So Stan plays there in July, which is great stuff. And Stan, talking website, what's your main website?
stanurban.dk or stanurban.uk.
So one for Denmark, one for the rest of the world, yeah? Okay, good stuff. Yeah. So, Russell, this has been amazing, hasn't it? What a fabulous experience and
amazing, and all the look around Thank you so much, Hendrik, for showing us around all the pictures you've shown us and all the videos you've shown us and the walkthrough of all the exhibits. That's been so interesting and amazing that you've captured so many of Elvis's relics, memorabilia that people can enjoy. And this podcast that we're doing, we're talking to so many people who have their place in rock and roll history. And Hendrik and obviously Stan, we've honored we honor him. We honor you as well on our podcast because you guys are what it's all about. Your passion and enthusiasm for what you do is just incredible, and that is an incredible place, and we urge anybody. I'll be visiting Stan, and I'll be definitely coming to see you as well, Hendrik. So I really look forward to that.
We've got to look at doing it in July next year. We'll pop over at the same time Stan is there, and perhaps do a live podcast from the venue. That'd be great fun, wouldn't it?
That would be really good.
And talking of our podcast series, I want to give a bit of a plug, a mention to. We got a similar sort of one coming along. We're going to go to the legendary studio in the UK where so many big bands have recorded major hits. It's a place where Bohemian Rhapsody was recorded 50 years ago. We're talking about Rockfield Studio in Monmouth, so we're looking forward to being on location down there.
And we're speaking to the owner, who's equally as passionate, ex-dairy farmer, Kingsley Ward. Him and his brother set up Rockfield in 1962. He'll be speaking to us. So all these people they're the foundation of what brought us to the music that we all love, whatever genre. But Hendrik, what you're doing and what you've done and what you continue to do really does keep it all going, keep it all alive for those people who never, they didn't experience what Stan, you and I, Hendrik and Phil, we didn't really experience what Stan experienced when it was all going on in the late 50s,
I mean, before we have some more music from Stan, I think from me, a final one to Hendrik has been a fascinating insight. Give you a little bit of a few seconds to think about this. What's been perhaps the most standout moment? What's been the most exciting part for you, your biggest achievement, do you think?
Oh, there's so many. But
I thought you might say that.
No, but to be honest with you, there's so many things. I would say that I'm most proud of succeeding with something that most people didn't believe in.
Right.
So I'm proud of that, to have that kind of business today. I'm really happy. But I would say that there's a few things. Actually, the Danish. The royal family invited us on 2 trips to follow them when they were in Brazil, and also 10 years ago, I have to say it's 10 years ago, in Russia. It would probably not have happened today. Something like that. Brian Wilson visiting us, Elvis Costello. There's so many. Stan, of course, all the great memories I have with yeah.
And as we're talking, you got visitors coming by in the background.
I know.
It's all peering across. It's fantastic. It's really good. Yeah.
Yeah. You're part of the action now, guys.
Yeah. I tell you, track that lady down and tell her she's going to be on the podcast. Tell her.
Yeah.
Spread the word around. So I think thanks very much indeed. It's been absolutely brilliant, and I think we'll leave it to Russell now to do the closing part and bring back Stan.
Well, I mean, we can't leave without Stan doing another one of his numbers on the piano, and I think it's fitting, don't you, Hendrik, that we let the old fella have another go at entertaining us with one of his songs. What are you going to sing for us, Stan?
Oh God, you caught me off balance there. What do you think?
You've got a whole repertoire.
It looks like you got a coachload just arrived. Visitors galore coming through at the moment. So
well, I have to do this number, don't I?
Yeah, you have to. Baby, I Don't Care.
Yeah, we'll have a go at that one. No black notes.
Excellent. Baby, I Don't Care. Tell us more about Baby, I Don't Care.
Well, it's one of my favourites. That was in the film Jailhouse Rock.
Mm-hmm.
He looks he looks like a college student, actually, when he did it. He's got this pullover on, and I just think it's it just sums everything up in his rock and roll period. It's Baby, I Don't.
Right. Just before you do that, Stan, thanks so much for organising this podcast. You always talk very highly of Hendrik. Sitting around the pool in my place here in the Philippines, we had a good and I couldn't believe what you were telling me about this crazy guy who built this mansion of Elvis in Denmark. So bless you both, and all power to you with your rock and roll. And take it away, Stan.
Well, she don't like crazy music, she don't like rockin' bands. She just wanna park where it's nice and dark. She just wanna hold my hand just so square. Baby, I don't care. Well, she don't like hard run racing or driving late at night. She just wanna park where it's nice and dark. She just wanna hold me tight, just so square. Baby, I don't care. Well, she don't know any dance steps that I knew. I only know I love you like I do, I do, I do. I wonder why my heart breaks. I only know it does. I wonder why I love you, baby. I guess it's just because you're so swell. Baby, I don't care. Is just because you're so square. Baby, I don't care. Baby, I don't care.
It's only rock and roll. A Phil Blizzard radio production.
Available on Apple, Amazon, Angami, Spotify, Deezer, Google, and all good podcast channels, and also now on YouTube. And if you would like to have a podcast production for your organisation, do get in touch with me. Drop me an email, philblizzardmedia@gmail.com.
A Phil Blizzard radio production.